Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Randomly Offensive. Today we'll be touching on some news about Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. There are rumors that Tom Cruise will be debuting as a new version of Iron Man. He will be wearing a white suit and is rumored to be in the movie for about 10 to 20 minutes. Now, this depiction of Iron Man will be more of a anti-hero version, and he is going to set up future abilities and future possibilities to have Iron Man return with a different actor. Now, this is going to be testing the waters and is wanting to see the audience's reception of it. And I think it would be interesting to see. I know Tom Cruise was offered the role initially, but they didn't want to go with him. They fought to have Robert Downey Jr., but Tom Cruise was initially supposed to get the role, and now he might actually get it as a variant. So let's look into a article real quick. This article is from MovieWeb. Tom Cruise is Iron Man in a new fan art amid multiverse of madness rumors. It has been rumored for years that Tom Cruise was considered to play Iron Man in the MCU, and a fan has imagined what it could look like. Alrighty, so it is 14 years since Tom Cruise was reportedly almost cast as the MCU's Iron Man, and following rumors that he may be finally about to get his chance again. A piece of multiverse-inspired fan art has made it so. Now, just because this is fan art does not mean that this is not a possibility, right? The Spider-Man No Way Home movie was rewritten to become what it is now, based off of what the fans were wanting. The fans had this movie hyped so much because we were going to get a Kraven movie, but when the fans started getting increasingly hyped for a multiverse storyline with Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, they actually rewrote it and made that happen, because it got to a point where if they did not include those characters, that movie would have been received very poorly. It would have upset the fans very, very, very much. So, fan art and speculations and theories and rumors, especially if he's only going to be in it for 10 to 20 minutes, that actually can create a factual diagnostic of what's going to happen in the movie. So, before Robert Downey Jr. became the Iron Man in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, one of the other names in hot contention to play the billionaire playboy and armored hero Tony Stark was the Mission Impossible and Top Gun star, and while it is now unthinkable to consider anyone other than Robert Downey Jr. in the role, the opening up of the Marvel Multiverse seems to have propped a window ajar for Cruise to finally be able to take on the character Stark. Now, I find this very interesting, and I actually would like it. I don't think that the superhero should be typecasted to one actor, and vice versa, right? I don't think that one actor should be typecasted to a hero, because those actors want to move on. Tom Holland has already talked about not wanting to be typecasted, which is why he doesn't want to play Spider-Man into his 30s. And Robert Downey Jr. already got typecasted, and you see it. Any movie he plays in now, you see Iron Man. And actors don't actually want that. Actors want to not be typecasted. They want options, right? And Benedict Cumberbatch, they could have made so many more seasons of the BBC Sherlock, but when he felt like he was starting to get typecasted as Sherlock, that's when he decided to walk away and go to other things, and now he is a iconic version of Doctor Strange. So, actors do not want to be typecasted, and I think that the same should go for superheroes. I don't think that beloved superhero characters should be designated to one actor and one actor only, because then we'll never get really good possible actors to play characters in a way that we've never seen before that we end up loving. Hugh Jackman is a huge example of that. Not only was he typecasted as Wolverine, but Wolverine was typecasted as Hugh Jackman. So now anyone who plays as him has to have a beard, even though that's not comic book accurate, and has to be almost identical to Hugh Jackman. And very few people are going to be receptive of any replacement of that character for quite some time. So it could become an issue when a superhero is typecasted, right? So, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is set up to overtake even Spider-Man No Way Home in the rumor mill stakes. Now, this has already been debunked. He didn't really overtake No Way Home, right? So, when was this posted? It won't tell me. Oh, it was published 13 hours ago, so what are these guys talking about? With the film set to feature several unexpected variants of well-established MCU characters, as well as more introductions to new characters from the future of the franchise, this could well mean some of the cameos that were originally expected by the fans in the Loki TV series that never materialized will now come to fruition. And that means there is a lot to be speculated on. Yes, and we're all loving it. We're all loving being able to speculate what's going to happen in the future. I just did a Doctor Strange deep dive, my last one, on Doctor Strange, a deep dive version of him, or a deep dive on his upcoming movie. And the speculation that I have is quite far-fetched, but I think it's close. And I'll leave a link to it at the end of this movie, or at the end of this video here. And there's a picture of Tom Cruise in the suit, and he looks like he could pull it off, right? Like, I actually don't think that we're gonna be non-receptive of this. I think that we'd be fine with it, especially if it's only for 10 to 20 minutes, and if he's bringing a whole new take on the character. If he's more of an anti-hero, right? If he's more of an anti-hero, then we're not going to be feeling like we're just watching someone repeat the same character that Robert Downey Jr. did. We actually feel like someone's bringing a new version of the character. So I'm all for this. I think it'd be great. Tom Cruise, I never liked him, but he's a good actor. I can't deny that he's a good actor. So thanks to this digital fan art, not going to pronounce that name, has wasted no time in putting together a piece based on the very concept of Cruise stepping up for the cameo as Tony Stark, which he said was inspired by both the story of the actor's name originally being on the shortlist for the role back in 2008, and the new rumors of him being considered as a possible variant in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Although Cruise has previously denied that he just missed out on the role of Iron Man, but rumors have to start somewhere, and this one is undoubtedly one that has time to run before we find out how much of it is true. Yes, I was just talking about that earlier. I think I agree with that. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness could introduce X-Men, Fantastic Four, and more. Please don't. You can introduce some X-Men, but don't introduce Fantastic Four. Absolutely not. The Fantastic Four has been butchered so many times. They need to be introduced delicately, and they need to be introduced respectfully, and they need to come into this universe with the respect that they're due, because they have been wronged so many times, right? So it's time for them to get their due, and I don't think just throwing them in a separate movie is a good idea. Now, one of the X-Men, that's fine. I don't think anyone like Wolverine or Cyclops or Charles Xavier should be in it, but maybe a couple X-Men that no one's really heard of and give it a fresh take and have them roam for a little bit. I think that would work out. Marvel pulled off something massive with Spider-Man No Way Home, uniting the MCU with two previous Spider-Man universes, and the current universe occupied by Venom, but in turn, that just increases expectations on what could be coming next in the MCU, to keep that kind of momentum going. But do they need to, though? Do they need to actually keep that momentum going? Because if I'm being fully honest, a lot of people were talking about how after Endgame, this cinematic universe was going to flop. It was going to fail, and it hasn't. You don't have to keep the momentum going. What you need to do is just bring the momentum back occasionally. We hadn't had anything big scale like Endgame until No Way Home, and No Way Home came out 2 years, almost 3 years later. So I don't think that you have to keep the momentum going. I don't know if that's a good idea, because you could only go up for so long before you start falling. So I think it's a good idea to go up a little bit, step down a few steps, and then go up even more. I think that's what you have to do, right? Let's see, where were we? Okay. To misquote a particular Spider-Man character with great expectation comes great responsibility. And that was the point I was making. Like, you have to lower expectations a little bit throughout your films. So like Shang-Chi, The Eternals, those were great. Those were great ways to lower the circumstances, lower the threats, and lower some expectations. That way when we did get No Way Home, it was like, perfect. Because if we got a movie on No Way Home's scale right after Endgame, then they would have doomed themselves to not be able to make anything smaller like Shang-Chi and The Eternals. So I don't think that you have to keep the momentum growing. With recent reports having suggested that part of the purpose of recent Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness reshoots was to film additional characters, introductions, and cameos. I do think so. I think that when rumors get started, they will include those rumors if it creates a fan base, right? Because that's what they're for. They're to make money, and they're actually starting to give the fans what they want. And I hope Marvel is definitely the leading brand when it comes to delivering for the fans, and they need to keep that going. The scope of what that could mean is huge and far-reaching, even beyond the confines of the MCU itself. James McCoy recently found himself denying that he is reprising his role of Charles Xavier, Professor X, from Fox's X-Men movies. And the X-Men, along with the Fantastic Four, are two very possible shouts for some of the teased introductions, considering both hero groups are expected to be joining the MCU soon. Now, I don't know. I don't want Charles Xavier to... I don't want Charles Xavier to be in this movie. And I say that now. I might love it. I might really like it. I didn't think I wanted Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield in Spider-Man No Way Home because I felt like it was going to take away from Tom Holland's Spider-Man, but it didn't. So I might be pleasantly surprised. As for variants of existing heroes, that is a list that could take a very long time to go through. Marvel Studios has gone to some length in the last years to make sure it is clear that there are numerous universes that mirror the MCU timelines, and each of those universes contain their own variants on the heroes and villains we all know. That means the playing field is wide open for anyone to become anyone, and having watched Andrew Garfield, William Dafoe, and more deny their Spider-Man returns until the bitter end. Well, yeah, so it is going to be an exciting guessing game as the whole will end up appearing in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. I do have to agree that, like, Andrew Garfield denying it all the way to the end does make you wonder what exactly are you going to get in these future movies, because now you never know, right? You never know if an actor's going to be in a movie, because just they say they're not doesn't mean anything. And when Tom Cruise denied the rumors, he could be doing the exact same thing, but at the same time he might be honest. So I'm actually not sure. I don't know. But I do believe there's a big chance that this is actually going to happen. Because this is just one article. There's multiple articles, and I can link them all in the description if you guys would like, but there's multiple articles of Tom Cruise coming as Iron Man into the multiverse. So I can't wait to see this movie. This movie is becoming, it's becoming too exciting. I want to see it so bad. And I can't wait to see Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and I'm curious to see if Tom Cruise shows up. I would love it if they played his Mission Impossible theme while he's flying around as Iron Man. That'd be goofy, wouldn't it? Well, anyway, that is all I have for today. Please hit the like and subscribe button, and take care of yourselves. Bye.